Jonas Brothers, Waffle House on BBC Radio Oxford. It's 25 to 1. It's Friday. You know what that means. There are a load of brand new movies that come out today. So every Friday I task our movie critic Van Connor to watch some of those new movies. Well, he watches all of them, to be honest. But he comes on and talks about two of them every Friday, brutally honestly, to let us know what is worth watching and what is worth avoiding. Good afternoon, Van Connor. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Bull. I'm glad you said brutally honest, because we are going to start talking about Road House, which brutal is kind of the word to use on that one. So we've got one on streaming and one in cinemas this week.
Okay, great. Well, the one that's in the cinema is Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters, which we're going to be talking about in just a moment, which I know you were very pessimistic about last week before you saw it, so I'm keen to know if that has changed, and we'll find out in a moment. But first, as you mentioned, Road House. Talk to me about Road House, Van.
So, new version of Road House, which I don't even want to say remake, because it's got the same basic concept. It's a very different setting, very different character, very different vibe to the original 80s Swayze smack 'em up. Same basic premise, though, in which, you know, a doorman effectively is brought to a roadhouse that's got its share of brawls and trouble, only to find himself quickly falling afoul of local criminal business elements that are in fact behind all of the violence and all of the trouble. This time, instead of the American heartland, we are in the Florida Keys. So we're swapping dirt sand for beach sand, effectively, this time around. Our lead here, Dalton, is played by a very shredded-looking Jake Gyllenhaal, who's on fine form. Our villain is Billy Magnuson, and most importantly, his chief henchman, in making his acting debut and becoming the highest-paid first-time actor of all time, according to him, is Conor McGregor.
Just incredible.
So, yeah, you can... I know, right? And he's brilliant in it, but don't take my word for it. Have a listen to the clip and decide for yourself.
A friend of mine suggested I come talk to you. I own a roadhouse out in the Florida Keys. Lately, it's been attracting the wrong clientele. I can pay you good money. Judging by your car, you need that.
Well, I like my car.
Think about it.
Come on, bud.
I know who you are. Elwood Dalton. Big fan, man.
That guy's got a knife under his shirt. You just take a big step back and pop me in the face. You can do it.
Tell me about this bouncer.
Yeah, it's all nice, like he's Mr. Rogers or something, but then he'll haul off. Really interesting guy, overall.
The trailer for this I have seen, and it does look brutal. I mean, you wouldn't want to fall out with Conor McGregor in a pub, would you, in a bar?
Oh, no, you really wouldn't. He's terrifying in this. I actually watched a featurette this morning about how they actually staged the fight scenes for this. They shot them all 4 ways. They shot the exact same plate 4 times. So once where they didn't connect the hits, and twice on each side with pads, and then a blank plate, and they digitally composite them all. The result is some of the most authentic-looking brutal violence you've ever seen. There's a headbutt you'll have seen in the trailer.
Yes.
That's just like, how that just looks like Conor McGregor just nutted Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. It's very much for the Fast and Furious generation. Like, don't get me wrong, it's their Roadhouse.
Yeah.
This is not your mum and dad's Roadhouse. There's none of that little cheeky smile you get from Patrick Swayze. Here you get a much funnier Jake Gyllenhaal. There's a lot of humour to this, but all about the thrills, all about the violence, and oh my God, you're fist pumping, you're on the edge of your sofa. The fact that this isn't in cinemas is basically a crime against cinemas, and I'm kind of amazed that that's a decision made by a company owned by the second richest man on the planet. Clearly, he just doesn't like money. But yeah, I would wholeheartedly advise checking out Roadhouse on Prime Video now, as soon as humanly possible. What a ride.
Great. Okay. I mean, I'm really into watching this. I want to watch it, definitely. Now, you know, anyone of a certain age will remember Ghostbusters from the 80s. Well, is this the 4th one that's just come out today?
I think this is actually the 5th. If you count the female reboot from 2016,
yes.
This is the 5th Ghostbusters movie. Canonically, it's the 4th. It would have been the 3rd, but weirdly, this actually does retcon in Ghostbusters 2. So Ghostbusters 2 has now happened, which it hadn't in the last one, but okay.
Oh no, it's like the whole confusing Star Wars thing once again, isn't it? Just back to that.
It kind of is, yeah. The female one hasn't happened, but the rest all now have. So the idea is the characters from Afterlife, which were Egon's estranged daughter and grandchildren, have now moved to New York and taken on the mantle of the Ghostbusters, taking along Paul Rudd, aka Mum's boyfriend and the kid's teacher. They are the new Ghostbusters. They're being funded by Winston. They have Ray as a consultant, along with Venkman and Janine. And this time around, the threat is an ancient brass orb, effectively, that basically works like an ancient ghost trap. And the proximity of this orb triggers a sort of panicked reaction in all other ghosts, including the containment unit in the basement of the Ghostbusters headquarters, which is all being brought about by this malevolent force that runs a sort of ice kingdom that will literally freeze your bones until they shatter. And it's left to our new would-be Ghostbusters to save the city once again, cleaning up the town, as they used to say. We're keeping it 80s this week, obviously. I give you Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
We can't leave. I mean, there's something strange in the neighborhood. Who are they gonna call? If there's something weird and it don't look good, who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters.
Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters! This is the home of the Ghostbusters. We're the Ghostbusters. Can I tell you something else? It's important. Busted makes me feel new.
And they are still driving around in that haggard old car, which was old from the first one in the 80s. It must be a 60-year-old car now, and it still works.
Oh, and then some probably from the 50s or 60s, that hurts, has it? Because it's a funeral car originally. They've made some upgrades for this. There's some very cool new tech in there. I think this is a really fun, inventive new spin on the Ghostbusters. I'm usually a skeptic about the Ghostbusters franchise. I mean, of 5 movies, 3 of them have the exact same plot, which it's fans seem to be completely okay with. I am less so. I grew up a Ghostbusters fanatic.
Yeah.
And even I was just bored. Can we have anything else except Gozer? Can we just anything except Ivo, Shandor, and Gozer? And guess what? We finally get that. This is about as close as you're ever going to get to a live-action version of the animated show from like 1987. And as such, it works really well. This actually should placate the sort of whiny fanboys who kicked off in 2016 to no end. But for me, as someone who has never particularly warmed to any of the more recent interpretations of the Ghostbusters, I went down really well. Good fun. The scares are scary. The laughs are really hearty laughs. It's nice to see Bill Murray getting to have a good time again. The original cast obviously all turn up, minus Egon, obviously, who sadly passed. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago now. And the younger cast and Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon get to have fun as well. But the MVP for my money is our very own James Acaster, who is a Ghostbuster now, and I could not be happy. He steals this thing. James Acaster himself is a Ghostbuster. If you can get to see this in IMAX, do, because there's some great big honking like chase sequences. The movie literally opens with a great Ecto-1 through the streets of Manhattan ghostbusting chase sequence. Spring for the extras, take the kids, go and have a great time at the movies. There are a lot of people being very whiny about it. It's too nostalgic. First of all, Ghostbusters is nostalgic. It just is. It has been
by pure definition, Van.
The second one of these. Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely. Also, it's the 5th one. You can't go into film 5 and complain it's a bit too nostalgic now. Where were you on the previous 4?
Well, if you want to go and check it out, you can see it from today. It's at the Curzon View and Odeon in Oxford, Cityworld in Didcot, and Whitney is showing it, and View in Bicester. There's no excuse if you do want to watch the 5th Ghostbusters. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Van. Have a lovely weekend, and we will catch up next week with some more movies to talk about. Have a lovely weekend, all right?
Well, busting made me feel good, so until the next time, sir.
Who are you going to call?